Okay, cool. Hi, John. My name is Noah Chrysler. I am making a video in response to your post on the r/YouTuber subreddit. I saw your post earlier today, and I'm going to look at your video and read your post and kind of respond to some of the questions you had and hopefully give you some direct feedback on your videos. When I started YouTube, I wanted more direct feedback on the videos that I made, so by doing this, I feel like I can help other people make better content. I think your video is fantastic, but I think that there are small little tweaks that you could make to your content that will make it more engaging. Really, I think that 90% of what you're doing is totally correct, and I think that if you keep doing it consistently, you will grow a pretty sizable audience. One of my favorite things that you do in this post is that you mention who your target audience is. It's a great habit to get into for this subreddit because I don't think enough people think about this. I think that it tells the people who are going to be looking at this video the mindset to be in when they think about the edits and when they think about your style. You say 25 to 35, slightly male skews towards people who follow entertainment, vlog, and travel and comedy categories on YouTube. I think that that is a perfect audience. I think that there are a couple tweaks to your content though that I would recommend if you want to better facilitate that audience. So you mentioned in your self-review that the video is shorter than your normal stuff. I think that this is a perfect length for videos of this type. 4 minutes is really, really difficult to get down to. It's so easy to make a 20-minute long video, but really getting it down to the 4 minutes of the most important stuff is absolutely amazing. To answer your question about the concern with the, quality issues, I don't think there are any quality issues. I think that the quality is fantastic. I think the edits are great, but I think there are some ways that you can save some time, and I want to recommend them when we get into the video. So now we're actually going to watch the video. In my notes, I wrote a preface. I said this is a really solid video, and all of these suggestions are suggestions for fine-tuning. I really think that you're doing a good job, and I think that you'll be good if you keep doing this.
All right, I had to come back to the flea market to see my drone falling from the tree. I'm hoping the wind was really strong in the last week and blew it down. Oh my God. There it is. There's my drone.
I think you did some really great stuff in the first 30 seconds of this video. That hook at the beginning of the drone crashing to the ground, I think it's a really solid hook. In those first 30 seconds, capturing the attention of your audience is really important, and it seems like you know that and you did that well. I think one thing that you can do to improve that is your hook was from footage that happened in your last video. It was basically setting up the problem that you are going to try to solve. And I understand why you did that, it makes a lot of sense, but I think something that you could try would be taking the contentious point of this video and putting it at the beginning in those first 5 seconds. I would recommend looking at the climax of this video and looking for the point when the tension is highest. So like we're about to have the drone take off and we don't know if it's going to be successful or not. I think that would be almost a more engaging hook than the drone crashing. Let me draw a diagram really quick. Okay, cool. I think that every successful video on this website follows this exact pattern. It is a pattern that you might be familiar with because it's like a very simple storytelling pattern that you learned in like middle school. I think this is known as the story mountain. The idea is that you start with a hook right here, right? This is a point of high energy, high intensity. Then you state the premise of what's happening. Then you have a bunch of rising action. Then you have a climax of what happens. And then you have a falling action. I think that your video really closely follows this, but I think if you created with this in mind, you would have an easier time editing. Your hook could have been more engaging had you used some of the high tension from right before the climax. I don't think the drone crashing to the ground is a bad choice though. I think that totally makes sense as a hook too. I just think that I would opt for this one instead. Also, in the first 30 seconds of this video, you do a really great job of concisely explaining the premise of the video. You explain that you had to come back to this flea market after losing your drone, and you're going to retrieve it. That is right here, the premise. Now, I have a couple suggestions for this portion too. There are a couple instances of competing attention. Number one, you have these annotations at the bottom. It says drone recovery mission. And then you have this wind and tornado sound effect. And I see what you're going for. I think you had a couple instances of competing attention because you're trying to vocalize with dialogue like the premise of the video and you have that line of text at the bottom. Me as the viewer, I'm like, I try to read the text at the same time as listening to you speak, and so I have these like competing sentences in my head. I would recommend to, you know, when there is dialogue happening, don't include any text at the bottom unless it's helping understand the dialogue. If it's captioning, I would include that. If you don't clearly and concisely state in any footage like what the premise of the video is, you know, you can do that in text over B-roll, or you can do that in a voiceover. Think about, what do I want the viewer to be paying attention to in this shot, at this timestamp? Because if it's both the audio and the visuals, it's going to be competing attention. They're not going to be able to do that. Also, with the tornado and wind animation noises, I personally wouldn't have put those in, and I think that goes back to your target audience, right? So you're saying that your target audience is between 25 and 35 years old. I got a comment a while ago about my thumbnails. My thumbnails were kind of like bad. And the reason why they were perceived so bad is because they were condescending. They were like clickbaity, but like bad clickbaity. I think that main takeaway was, you know, try not to be condescending with anything that you put on this platform. The wind and the tornado animation, if it's a joke, it's not the best joke. I don't think it's very funny. And two, I think we still understand the premise of what you're saying without that animation. I don't think that's a necessary animation and sound effect. And you know, it was a quick thing, and I don't mean to like grill you on it. It probably took a while. It probably took a long time to keyframe all of that and to put that sound effect in and to locate those images and stuff. I think you could save yourself a lot of time by just removing things that aren't really helping with understanding or aren't really that funny.
Oh my God. There it is. There's my drone. I can't believe it's there. All right, I gotta figure a way to climb over. The problem is there's barbed wire on this fence, so there's gotta be a way.
Okay, sweet. So now I love this. You know, we understand that the premise of the video is there is my drone, I have to go get it, and there's tons of rising action, right? We see the barbed wire. We know that is a hurdle that you as a character are going to have to overcome.
I don't know what kind of plants are on the other side. I'm afraid that it's poisonous or something like that.
The plants have poison ivy in them. Awesome rising tension.
I think I see a possible way. This pole here allows me to climb to the top.
Again, there's this bell sound effect. I personally don't think you need that. I think that it might not fit with the target market that you're going for. But again, I love this. You know, you're climbing over the fence. You're raising the stakes. You're attempting this. It's rising action, and I think it's great.
Something else. We have to get down to where we're staying tonight in 7 hours. Which means we gotta haul ass, because if we don't, it's pitch black in the desert and we'll never find it. We're lost forever.
The car shot with your dog. Also, you have a very cute dog, and I think he's adorable. But the car shot with your dog, I think, is another example of that competing attention. You have the dialogue, and then you also have the text at the bottom. You know, pick one or the other. Those texts are great, but I think try to use them at a spot where no dialogue is happening. But this is another great example of rising action, right? There's a time constraint. We have to go. Great job.
It was like one of those games you play in Dave & Buster's where you're trying to win.
That's right.
Like a free game, but you never win. I'm gonna win.
I also think you have really, really great characterization in this video. You know, the jokes that you make, and like you seem like a really fun person, and I think that comes across really well. You have really great chemistry with your wife, and I think that above anything else is what's gonna make you guys successful. So I think that that's really great.
I got a million!
Oh my.
On our story arc, you guys are right here, right? Sometimes people draw these like this, right? So basically there's like rising action and then like a small resolution, and then you continue to rise and build the stakes, and then the overall resolution happens. We're right now right here. You've picked up the first drone, and you've hit it with the slingshot, which is hilarious, and it's busted. I really like this edit when you put in the slingshot footage. I think it's really smooth and really seamless.
We might have a fully recovered drone. Battery's booted up. It looks good. I am hopeful. I am so hopeful this is gonna work. Amen. Can I get amen?
Amen! Forward left vision sensor error, hardware malfunction, forward right sensor error, hardware malfunction.
Okay, now I think that this video is so close to perfect, but here is my one glaring issue that I have with this video, and that is this moment right here. So basically you have all this buildup, right? You've just gone through all of this trouble to go and retrieve this drone. You had to go get a selfie stick and stick it through a fence, and like your wife's hands, she's sticking her hands through the thing, slowly raise it up to the top, and you finally do it. And it's amazing, and you're like, yes, I finally have it. And then you assess the damage, and you're like, I think it can work, let's find out. And then you're standing there, and you're like, okay, we're so excited to see if it's gonna work or not. And then the next shot we get is this error message. And I think that is a huge lost opportunity. I think we needed to see the drone take off really badly, and I think we needed a little bit more of is it gonna work or is it not? We are right at the climax, Now, all of the prep work that we did at the beginning of the video, all of that heightening is supposed to pay off right now. And I think that it falls a little flat. If you changed up the music, if you had a tonal shift, right, with some bum 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 bum, is this gonna work? I think that you would have a better video on your hands. Instead, we go, we're really excited to see if this is gonna work. Oh, and it doesn't work at all. I think a better story would be, we're really excited if this is gonna work. Oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna do it. Here we go. I'm gonna turn on the drone and I'm going to, we see the drone taking off, and then it's flying. Oh my gosh, it's flying. And then crash, crash, crash. I think that's a more compelling story than, is it gonna work? Nope, it's not gonna work, and it exploded. I like the voiceover of the malfunctions, but I think that you could have, that reveals the resolution that this doesn't work too early. You have that great footage of the drone hitting the ground. I think that should be the reveal that this doesn't work. Not the error flashing, not the text, but actually showing us that the drone just hit the ground and the wing exploded off. I think that's a solid visual.
I'm even shocked that it got off the ground. So, although in this type of situation, I think it's pretty much a goner. It's not gonna fly again. Flat out dead.
Poor drone.
Okay, sweet. The last thing that I would say is that, this obviously took a lot of time to make. It is very evident from the music to the animations to the amount of cuts and how well you told this story. It obviously took a long time to make, and I never hear you guys give a call to action. If I'm your audience, right, you've just taken me on this 4-minute long journey. Now what do you want from me? I think you need to plug the subscribe button. I know it can feel kind of hacky, but I think if you've done this amount of work, I think that you owe it to yourself to say, hey, subscribe. Say, hey, like this video so that we can hopefully get some more views. I think you only have to feel bad about that if you say it at the beginning, before the people have even seen the video. If you've taken these people on a 4-minute journey, you've basically given them a story, and it's totally reasonable for you to ask, hey, can you help me out by hitting the subscribe button and hitting the like button? And I think that you should do that, and I think that you will see an increase in your metrics. I think that your guys' quality is amazing, and I think that you're very small. If you asked your audience for more, I think they would support you, and it would grow your audience. I don't think you have to feel bad about doing calls to action or plugs, because I think that's what kind of keeps you going. If you guys continue this and you continue to not get very many views, I feel like you're gonna get burnt out, and your audience isn't gonna want that, right? So I think that there's this interplay between asking for stuff and then having the audience give it to you, so that your content doesn't end. You don't want to ask them for too much, but you don't want to not ask them for anything. Other than that, I think this is a great video. I wanted to talk about the thumbnail and the title as well for a little bit. If we go to your channel here, I love your channel art, by the way. We can talk about that in a minute, but the title and thumbnail are right here. I think this is a great title and thumbnail combination. I think it could be better, though. Here are my notes. I think it utilizes the rule of thirds very well. Your wife's face is strategically placed, and I think that's great. Your text does not compete with the timestamp rectangle, so that's great. It inspires curiosity, right? This whole thumbnail is basically telling us, will this drone fly? And it tells a story. I think that it could tell a better story, though. I think your title is a little redundant. Titles and thumbnails should inspire curiosity and tell a story. And I think that if you told a story with the title and then left your thumbnail with that curiosity, I think that it would be perfect. The last thing I wanted to talk about is your channel branding. I think that this cover photo is absolutely amazing. I really like the art style. But the one thing that I'm confused about is why it is called 88 Wonder Show. I think that it doesn't really inform the viewer very much about the type of content that you guys are making. And I think that if you renamed yourselves, I think keep all of the visuals, but I think that if you renamed the show to more accurately describe the content that you're making, I think that it would be more relevant. Honestly, maybe just take out 88, maybe just Wonder Show. I have no idea. Other than that, I think you're doing a great job. If you take out some of the unnecessary edits, you will be able to turn around videos much, much faster, and it will improve your workflow a lot, and you'll save time on jokes that don't really land that hard and unnecessary edits. And I also think if you utilize this story arc template, I think your videos will be really, really great. And they are really great. My name is Noah Chrysler. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this or if this helped you in any way, this is my channel. If you want to follow any of the things that I'm doing or check out my stuff, hit subscribe and like this video, hopefully. If this content did help you, let me know. Let me know what you think about this. If you disagree with a lot of the stuff I said, let me know. And because I think that YouTube isn't an exact science. The only way we're all going to get better is if we talk about these things and we share our ideas. So yeah, let me know if this helped you, and I hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one.